Hey brother. Ben, I agree, this is freaking impossible. What the crap is he even doing? I think he's using black magic because this doesn't make sense. And I mean, you don't want to fall for black magic. You always want to keep the black mage in your party, but that's a mistake because it's the white mage that makes you invincible. Miniature animal, Ben? Duh. Narwhal, you know, if they're real, that is. Which I'm sure they totally are. Probably. Maybe. I don't know. Do we get to choose how miniature? Because, I mean, you can have like a horse-sized elephant and still have like a miniature elephant, right? But Ben, today I need to talk about something of great importance. You see, last week I was going through my YouTube subscriptions, as you do, and I came across the new Friends Without Benefits video. Friends Without Benefits is a vlog produced by a guy named Chase Lilly, and indeed, as always, the video was very thoughtful and humorous. It was about getting old and stupid or something, I don't know, I laughed. But then something caught my eye, Ben, something that made me question everything I know about Chase Lilly. Which, to be fair, is not much. But nonetheless, grinning at me from the back of Chase's video was this! The Garfield alarm clock. What an unusual item for someone who reveals himself to be 24 in that very video to own. Why does Chase own the Garfield alarm clock, and why did he include it in his set? Nervous, Chase? It seems to me that there are only three, count them, 1, 2, 3. Yeah, that's right, 3 possibilities! Number 1, Chase has owned the alarm clock his entire life, a relic of a childhood once had, and the clock has stood the test of time. It keeps good time, continues to wake Chase up every morning, so why get a new one? And after all, Garfield's not something you really grow out of. No one really knows if he's for kids or adults. Sure, he's marketed at kids, but the humor rings across all generations. But I've also never met anyone who is a huge Garfield fan, but no one really seems to dislike him. Everyone just seems to accept and tolerate his perpetual existence, which is, ironically, Garfield's view on life most of the time. Reason 2! Chase has purchased the clock, ironically. Chase is a smart guy, a man of humor, a keen observer of the world around us. I wouldn't put it past him to realize everything I just said, to realize that Garfield is old enough to be vintage, but iconic enough to never really die. Either way, it's hilarious that he owns that clock, and makes for the perfect ironic and vintage set piece. A double whammy! Now, there's nothing wrong with either of those two options. Certainly we all own a few things ironically, and have held on to a few nostalgic items from our childhood, but then there's option 3. Chase is playing us. Chase didn't buy that clock ironically, nor has it been sitting on that shelf for the last 20 years, but he knows that it will look that way. He realizes everything I've said about options 1 and 2 and has very purposefully placed that clock in his shot. He knows it will draw on the nostalgia of anyone who knows and remembers and loves Garfield, but will fail to offend anyone who's indifferent towards him. He recognizes the social gains and humor associated with being a 24-year-old who ironically still owns and uses what is presumably a kid's clock. Well, Chase, all I have to say is this. Bravo. You almost had us going. Almost had us embracing the falsehoods you so knowingly presented us with. Unless, of course, it is just options 1 or 2, in which case, cool clock. But we don't know that yet, and we want answers. The community wants answers. So I will post this as a video response to Chase's video, but I also suggest that everyone go to Chase's video and leave comments to the effect of, we want answers about the clock. Now, to be fair, I did already ask this question in the comments, and he did answer me and say that he's owned the clock since he was 5, but I don't buy it, and neither should you. That's exactly what someone of option 3 would want us to think. So Ben, my question for you and everybody else is, what do you think about this whole clock thing? Have I maybe overanalyzed it a little bit too much? Or is Chase playing us? Oh, and Chase. This is coffee. Go on. I'll see you in another life, brother. Also, speaking of background stuff, if you'd like to have something you created in our videos and on our set, feel free to send us something down in the P.O. box below. We love featuring you guys and seeing what cool things you can make.